Hello, this is Ray with Get Real Ray, a place and space for life and business tips from this creative soul to hopefully inspire you on your journey, or at the very least, provide you with some laughs. Because life be serious, y'all. Life be serious. And so we need to laugh on occasion just to lighten up, just to release stress. Let's get real. Let's get real about what's going on. Okay, so this is not all about me. This is gonna be about you too, but we're gonna talk about me first. Okay, so here we are. It is, you guys, I almost jumped ahead in time. Okay, it is October, the year of 2025. And so I was thinking last night, so yesterday I wasn't feeling good. I was like, man, I need to go to a doctor. I do not feel good. I don't really know what the doctor can tell me or do for me, but I just don't feel good. I also don't really want to pay money to go to a doctor to have them be like, well, we don't know what's wrong with you, so just get some rest. I didn't want that, right? Or, oh yeah, you're almost done with that cough. Just get some rest, drink some water, and wait another 5 days. I was like, oh man. So I don't know why I do know why, but mentally I was trying to play out the scenarios. Like, is it worth me to go to this doctor? Should I do telehealth? It's cheaper, but with telehealth, given my complaints, are they really gonna be able to say anything? I should probably just go in. So anyway, I was going through all this in my head. I was like, what is going on, girl? Because you are about to leave the East Coast. Okay, so if you've seen any of my other videos, then you know that I've been doing this traveling house sitter thing for a bit over a year now. I guess it's been a year and 2 months. And I already kind of did a reflection on the housing experience, but I was just thinking what in terms of where I want to be and where I want to be in life, not physically, but in terms of life goals. And I'm gonna say it, productivity, the things I want to do. I don't really consider the things I want to do just to be goals. They're just things that I consider priorities that I want to do. Am I doing them? Am I living the life that I said out loud and on paper that I want to do? Or am I just shuffling along day after day, shuffle. So anyway, I was thinking about this as I was not feeling well. I was like, I don't think this isn't what I was planning. What am I doing? I had things I was doing and I'm not doing them. Okay, fast forward several hours later, I'm feeling much better. What changed? What, my digestive system? I don't know what really changed, but I am feeling much better. And so I said, okay, given that I am feeling better, let's take a better look at planning the perfect day. So I had previously this Google Docs document that I would use, and it had just a basic table where it had listed 12 or 14 hours, something like that. Because I go between 2 different time zones, over time I had to add a separate column. So there's a Pacific time zone and Eastern time zone on this document. I've been using this document, some version of it, I think since 2021. Okay, so some people have a little diary. My ex had this 5-year journal where he would jot down a few moments of the day. But for me, I felt basic journals just wasn't fitting the bill. And because I go through so much stuff, I just was like, I don't want to carry around a bunch of notebooks. So my digital life. And I also done videos of all these other apps I tried, and they would last, the enthusiasm will last for like a month or so, and then it's just gone, and I'm not really looking at it, avoiding those notifications in the phone, all the things, right? So, since I have been on the East Coast, I haven't used my journal as much. I haven't logged what I'm going to be doing as much. I haven't really planned out the day. Now, in terms of disasters and failures, like in terms of missing things, because that has been a problem with me, is that I'll get into a routine of, okay, I know on Mondays I have a class at, say, 9 to 4, 5, 6:30, 7, right? So that'll be my routine for 3 months or something. And then a new class will appear, and it has happened on more than one occasion where I will forget about this new thing, which is not good at all, because the classes is how I make my money. So, lo and behold, did I forget a lot of things during this past few months on the East Coast? I think I maybe forgot one meeting, but it was an unconfirmed meeting. Yeah, there was an unconfirmed meeting that I kind of forgot about. But I did realize, oops, someone wanted to meet with me. And so I messaged them afterward. We set up a new meeting and things were good. And they weren't upset because it was an unconfirmed meeting. They had just like miraculously invited me. It was like, hey, we should meet at this time. And, oh, actually, I never set up a meeting. I was just like, yeah, they said we should meet at this time, and I never confirmed or responded or anything because I hadn't had a chance to go through their material and figure out what are you about. So anyway, yeah, I'm so fancy. People want to meet with me. Here's a lesson. Protect your time. Yes, guard your time and your mind. Ooh, child, that is a good one. I think it was Jim Rohn who said something like, stand guard at the door of your mind, or something like that. Okay, I'm pretty sure that was Jim Rohn. And, when it comes to protecting your time, time does not necessarily cost money. There is this phrase, time is money. But for a lot of us, we don't think of time as money. And we waste time all the time, okay? Because think about it, when you spend time, you don't get it back. Like the time you spent yesterday, you can be like, I want a refund. I don't like what I purchased yet. I don't like what I invested in yesterday. I don't like that I spent 2 hours watching Netflix, or 4 hours watching Netflix, or I don't like that I spent my time 6 hours on TikTok. I don't like that I spent my time eating those chips and peanut M&Ms that I did not really enjoy. I just don't like the way I spent my time. Let me go and ask for my money back. You can't get your time back. You can ask for money back. I don't know if you're gonna get money back on food that you already consumed. But if you go and ask for your time back, you can't get it back. Life does not work like that. And so time really is our most precious resource and commodity. It is. Some people might say money is the most important thing, but I'm gonna say it's time. Because if you have time, then you can figure out ways to make money, make more money, do what you gotta do. But if you don't have time, well, you dead. I'm just saying, like, okay. So I think I've made my point. All right, so I was reflecting and I thought, okay, let me just open up this journal that I haven't opened, like dust off the digital cobwebs, because I've barely used the journal. I'm looking at so at the top of the document, I notate what I need to do during the day. And then at the bottom, I notate like how I'm feeling, what my thoughts are. And I did a little run through Google's Gemini, which is like Chat GPT, I believe. And, a few weeks before I said, hey, my journal, like my daily journal, is kind of being overloaded because I have all of these things that I need to do. There's some things that I don't want to forget. Like there's some investment strategy that I don't want to forget. There's things that I need to do throughout the year. Like I have my businesses that I need to close down. Don't worry, friends. Don't worry. It is a way to stop with certain insanity when it comes to having my businesses registered in high tax areas. So anyway, I need to close down these businesses. There is a process to doing that. I had some annual goals of, I want to, why did I say Because you don't know, I'm telling you now. I wanted to book a certain amount of work. I wanted to make certain connections. I wanted to remember that there's certain conferences that I want to apply for. So there's all these things. There's life things, and there's business things, there's retirement things, there's just things. And not all of it was applicable to the regular day, right? And if you think about it, if you are someone who uses a planner or something to that effect, then you may have found yourself trying to decide, do I want that planner that has a little task box? Do I want the planner that has a note section? Do I want the planner that allows me to plan for just a week or for a month or for a year? So I had all this and I was trying to squeeze into one Google Doc. And I had previously had separate documents, but then I realized that I stopped looking at those documents. My Google Doc had now become 4 pages, and I would kind of just not look at the bottom section so much because the top section was my daily activities. But every so often I would scroll down and be like, was there something I was supposed to say I want to do this month? And it would be delightful when I was like, oh, I did that. But when it was something I didn't do, I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I didn't do that. So my document was starting to feel like a bit of pressure, and that's probably why I wasn't checking it as much, just because it had become a bit bloated. And the AI software said, yes, this sounds like a bit too much. You don't need to look at all this stuff every day. You should have 2 documents, one for all the stuff that isn't daily, and then one that is daily because clearly that hasn't worked out for you in the past. And I'm like, okay, software, AI, whatever, I'll try your method. But once again, I have 2 documents, okay? But this is really no different than having one document with the bottom 3 pages that I don't look at. I don't really look at the other tab. So I'm still trying to resolve that. But one thing that I realized last night as I was trying to fill in these boxes of, what I needed to do the next day, I said to myself, okay, you know what? Instead of worrying about the next day, what would the perfect day look like? Just what would the perfect day look like? And usually I have no problem doing this. This is so easy breezy. I really love it. If you haven't sat down and planned your perfect day, I highly recommend it. Just what would your perfect day look like? So we already talked about protecting your time and your mind. Boop-a-doop. Because if you let people tell you foolish things, or I'm not telling you foolish things, don't get mad at me. Or you just consume foolish things, then after a while, foolishness will just be all up in your head. If you don't believe me, just go online and look up recovering from a cult or cult deprogramming. And you will find tons of articles and videos and testimonials of people who are like, yeah, when I look back on it, what was I thinking, right? But those were people who let foolish thoughts fill their mind. And so, lo and behold, that was foolishness all up in there. And of course, thankfully, they have found a better way to go about life and, deprogram and all that stuff. Now, don't start putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying that everyone who's been in a cult willingly knowingly accepted foolishness. A lot of times people hear something that they think, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it like that. And so then that kind of goes down the road. But this is not about cults. This is about planning, living your life the way you say you want. Okay? That's what this is about. I had to pause this video to cough, you guys. So if it looks like I was crying, I was coughing. Okay, so lo and behold, I really struggled to plan my perfect day. And part of it was my brain was going, oh, well, even though the perfect day would look like waking up early, doing some sort of physical workout and recording it, then doing my podcasting, then going ahead and doing my teaching. Then I was like, oh wait, I have a meeting tomorrow. Where does that fit in the perfect day? And I know the classes that I want to teach tomorrow, but are they the perfect classes? I know that I work best at certain times of the day. So even though there's a huge section of the day that I haven't planned out, I know that realistically, it's highly unlikely I'm going to get XYZ work done. And lately, I've been really unproductive in the evenings. So even though I have my language learning plan in the evening, that's probably not going to happen. So should I move it up in the day? But I got to make some money. So I really need to set aside some time to make some money. And so my plan of the perfect day went out the window because I was looking at having to fill in making money in ways that I just don't want to have to rely on for making money, right? Now, before you start screaming, capitalism, curse it, why do you have to make money? Well, one, I marry a sugar daddy to take care of me, so that's one reason why I gotta make money. And two, I have businesses that I have to keep running, so that's another reason why I gotta make money. And three, I want to be able to live a life where I don't have to depend on other people in order for me to do the things or get the things that I need or that makes me happy. Okay. I am very frustrated because I have a lot of family members that are very happy relying on other people in order to do the things or get the things that they need in order to have a successful life. Or, I just say successful, like, would I call that successful? But I mean, it's the life they want to live, I guess. So I guess that makes it that successful, okay? But I just don't believe, in terms of my priorities, I don't believe that that is a life lived fulfilled. I don't think that's a good way to live. Why, you may ask? What's wrong with that? Well, if the person or people that you're relying on are no longer in your life, whether they choose or you choose or just events take them away, what are you going to do? Are you going to have to spend your time trying to find someone else to fill that void so that way you can get back to living the life you want? You know, when you look at all those apocalypse movies, people are on their own. People are on their own. They're struggling and they have to figure out how to survive. And usually by the end of the movie, they find like some little community to get with. But the people that survive are the people who were able to figure things out because they were forced to. They had a period of being on their own and just seeing what they could and couldn't handle. And so, lo and behold, I've always valued being able to do things for yourself. And I feel like that was a part of, my upbringing, but now I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we grew up in the same house and yet what happened? Like very different people came out of that house. But anyway, here I am. I also honor being true to my word. So if I say I'm going to borrow this and give you back on Monday, I want to give it back to you on Monday. And I don't think that I've been very good at being true to my word. And so I also just have to try to remember to say yes less and not like make so many commitments. And so here's another lesson. If you are someone where you feel like you're constantly giving gifts, or you are constantly agreeing to buy something for someone, or you are constantly just short on money, you're like, oh man, I need to get XYZ, or I need to pay that bill, I'm gonna have to take out a loan from a firm or Uplift, or I'm gonna have to do Chime's little advanced payment, or anybody's advanced payment. I'm gonna have to do a little PayPal, buy now, pay later. You're overextending yourself. You just are. And so you really need to take a careful look at how many times you're using those services and what could you have done differently in order to not have to use those services. Yes, emergencies arise, but that's where, you know, in the world of financial advice, having an emergency fund can be very helpful. So that way you were depending on you, you're borrowing from you. I'm pointing at myself. You're borrowing from you in order to make it through that unexpected event. You're not depending on someone else. Okay, so we've had some lessons. See, I told you it wasn't gonna all be about me, it's gonna be about you too. So we've had some lessons. Okay, so I do think that planning your perfect day is a really good thing, but my brain had a fart and I was like, I can't plan the perfect day. Ah. So I found myself going, where has this year gone? What has happened? What's different now in October? I have to think again. I don't know why I want to make it November, but October 2025. What happened now compared to where I was in, say, maybe February 2025? I'm just thinking back to last time it was cold. And also, when was I on the West Coast? So I last night I was like, okay, you know what? I think I want to make a video about this, because it's so easy to make an end of the year video, but technically we're in fourth quarter, people. Why do I need to wait until December or beginning of January to make an end of the year video? It is not the end of the year, and that is why it is time for me to evaluate and be proactive. And what do good businesses do? Because you are in the business of living a fabulous life. If you don't have like your own business, then you are in the business of living a fabulous life. Therefore, that is your own business. So if you do have like your own Shopify or whatever, something crazy, then now you have multiple businesses. You too are a multi-business owner. Congratulations. You're welcome, right? Okay. So I got up. I took the weights out of the weight room over here. Now, I will say, like the last time I was in this house, the gym it was all kinds of stuff going on in that gym. And so the gym is the garage. So I cleaned it up and I said, hey homeowners, I cleaned your gym for you. You're gonna love it. I also wanted to use the gym. They said I could use it, but I was like, I can't breathe in here because it was all the sawdust. So I'm not gonna go into that story. Anyway, I'm back at this house and I was like, let me go into the gym. And I went in and I was like, ah! But it was kind of a good there's a project that they're working on in the gym. And the last time I was here, it was like, yeah, this project has been in the making for years. And so I like to think that maybe because I helped clean up their gym, they were just like, you know what, we really need to get back on that project. Possibly, maybe. So in the garage, there's all of this like construction stuff. I'm like, I can't work out here. It's not gonna happen. So I've been in this house for almost a week and I've been thinking about the gym, like go get some weights, go in there just open up the doors to let some air in. And then just like use the equipment for just maybe a few minutes. But it's cold outside. And I don't want to put on a coat to go into the gym. And so anyway, I did this morning. Here it is, my last day here. And this morning I went in, I got out some weights, and I just walk them into the house and just lift them a little bit. And automatically my muscles were like, thank you, Ray. We've been sad and sleepy. Isn't that crazy? My muscles have been sad and sleepy. Oops, my phone. Okay, so what does that bring me to? So that brings me to one of the things that I wanted to do. Well, I said one of the things I wanted to do for my perfect day was to start the morning with something physical, and technically I did. Not what I fully envisioned, because I did not do like a full workout. It was really just like 1, 2, 3, 4, woo, let's put this down. But it was on the right path, right? Tiny, tiny little actions to build strong habits. And so I also thought, let me sit down and record. Now, when I was putting together my list last night and I was feeling better, even though I couldn't fully plan the perfect day, for some reason, as I was starting to feel better, I did start doing more. I went ahead and published a podcast episode. I hadn't published a podcast episode in almost a month. Part of that was just location-wise. It had been hard to be in spaces that were not noisy. You guys have a video for me where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the gardener, it's the dogs, like it's everything right now. So there's that. Gosh. Yeah, so I hadn't published podcast episodes in a while, so I did that. I did publish a podcast episode. I did publish a recipe video, and there wasn't much editing to do for that video, but I do have to record the audio separately for those videos, so I had to do that. But I did it, and I published it. I had a bunch of other videos that I started to prep. And when I looked at my journal, I saw in my box of what makes a day a win. Well, one of the things that makes a day a win is to publish a podcast episode and to record and edit at least 3 videos. And I had recorded and edited, I think, at least 2 yesterday. So that felt good. Those felt like these are wins. This wasn't a total waste of time today, even though I did waste a good amount of time roaming through the grocery store trying to decide if I should get a bag of chips. I did not get those chips. Instead, I got soup. And so I want to thank my mother for that one, because I was on her case about snacking on popcorn and other things that I know she does not want to be snacking on, and I know that she shouldn't be snacking on, just because it's not doing anything of value for her body. And recently, I've been back into the pattern of snacking on things that are not doing anything good for my body. And I'm like, oh, well, this is different. And it's actually not even just snacks, right? It's like, oh, I want to reintroduce this healthy food. Surely I can eat cashews without eating the whole bag. Surely I can eat pistachios without eating the whole bag. Surely I can reintroduce rice into my diet. There are, civilizations that have existed off of rice. Why is it that my body cannot handle this? And so, lo and behold, I was trying to reintroduce things or just trying things, and it was not working. And that was actually part of my feeling so ill the other day. Was I ate something that was gluten-free, should be fine, but it was not fine. It was very much not fine, and I was gone. But anyway, so it was really nice at the end of the day to see that I had some wins. And I also said, let me go ahead and look at my little log. And I want to show you guys my log. I know we're at the 30-minute mark, you guys. I try to make these videos no more than 30 minutes, but we're going to go a little over. Okay, so here's my log. Yay, look, there's a little aerialist in the corner to remind me that this is part of my future, is to get back in the air. I want to do at least one show. I trained so hard, you guys, and I haven't trained hard in probably like 6 years. That's very scary for me just to even think about. And if I haven't trained hard in 6 years, how the heck do I imagine myself getting back in the air and having this amazing show? But I know that I do have to pay my bills, honor my word, pay those debts. And I know there's also things that I can physically do to have the strength and flexibility to order to handle a show and getting back in the air. But I also know that if I don't put in the work, then I won't have the endurance to handle a tour. I just won't. So, just looking at this little aerialist again. She's so pretty. You guys, you know what? I had a friend ask me for the template. I think I'm gonna put the template in the comments for you guys so that you too can have your own little weekly check. So for a while, what was working for me real good was to have my daily journal thing and then just to have a weekly checklist. So these things did not have to go into my perfect day calendar. As long as I got them done, it was fine. Okay, so don't judge me. You're so gonna judge me. I would judge me. I'm judging me right now. Okay, so on my list of things, dental and face. Okay, so I wanted to improve my dental care routine and my face routine. I have fallen off the wagon. Off the wagon? I've fallen off the... Okay. Well, I've fallen to the wayside. Okay. If there was a wagon filled with hay, I fell off it. And I am now in the middle of the road going, my face. I'm not doing like these amazing every other day retinol treatments, deep pore cleansing, all these things, right? I'm like in the shower, wash, it's good. I'm brushing my teeth, but it could be better. That's why it's on the list and I'm not doing it. Get Fit with Rick. So my mom introduced me to this fitness channel and this guy's energy is just so infectious. And for a while I was doing his ab video every day and I loved it and it felt great. I haven't done that in months. Stretch, roll, abs. Okay, so every day outside of my classes, I should be stretching, I should be using a foam roller, and I should do some sort of ab workout. Okay, so not really doing that. I will say that at times I do stretching and foam rolling, partly because I'm like, my legs are in pain today, or my joints are in pain. Ooh, I'm in pain. I don't know if I can teach my class today. I need to physically do something for my body. Acrobatics, work on acrobatics and arms. So do an arm workout, strengthen my arms so that way I can get my butt up in the air, my big butt. And acrobatics would just be like, okay, so did I work on handstands? Did I work on back bends? Did I work on any of those things? No. One of my classes, I teach, I do back bends with the students, and every time I look at my back bend on the Zoom camera, I'm like, oh my gosh, my back bend is horrible right now. It used to be so much better. It is barely a back bend. So, need to work on that. Voice and piano. So as I have been on the East Coast, I haven't really done any of those things that I've mentioned, with the exception of occasional stretch and roll and occasional arm workout. Everything else I haven't done. But voice and piano. I'm trying to think, did I do any piano? I may have done just a little bit. I feel like I was in a space where there was a real piano and I may have poked at the keys. But that might have just been a dream. That might not have actually happened. Actually, I'm really thinking it through. That did not happen. That did not happen. So I haven't really worked on piano. And I've been on the East Coast since July. Okay, well, you can do July, August, September, October. Okay, so for about 4 months, I haven't worked on piano. I did, however, treat myself to a voice lesson with a very accomplished opera singer. And it was one of those life-changing voice lessons. So good. I haven't really done much since though, but we're gonna come back to voice. Okay. Oh, I can't even read this. Oh, write or listen to Japanese. Okay. I have only worked on my, I'm working on hiragana. So I've only worked on my hiragana like maybe 3 times over the last 4 months. I've started to listen to a Japanese podcast and then like, I don't know what you're saying. So I'm just like, I can't really focus right now. I'm not gonna deal with it. That's not the point. I'm supposed to surround myself by the language and try to catch the few words that I can and then improve. I'm not putting in the work. Okay. Read or listen to French. So I haven't really been listening to my French podcast at all. I do the Duolingo like little read stories, but I turned off my Duolingo notifications. This took me out of the, I turned off the notifications and something else. So I'm no longer like on the leaderboard, no longer seeing friends or anything like that. And for that reason, no longer be on the leaderboard, I don't have that drive to put in an hour to 2 hours of French on a daily basis. I'm not spending 4 hours of French Sunday night so that I can be at the top of the leaderboard. Like, it's not happening. I will look for the least amount of effort right now. And so that might include just reading one of the little short stories under practice. My intake of new words on a daily basis is just so low, probably non-existent. I am at a point in my French where I can like read short stories or listen to a news story and understand a decent amount. Not really moving forward on that. So I need to get back on it. I'm judging me. Okay. Tape and submit. So with my acting career, I should be doing self-tapes or submitting to things like on the daily. No. Since I've been on the East Coast, I have submitted to some stuff. I was really excited because my manager sent me notifications on some stuff. I was like, I'm going to book, 4 months, I'm going to book so many things. It's going to be great. Hasn't happened. And I'm like, what the F? I'm not a bad actor. Now, I do understand that a lot of things where it's like, we're looking for a young mom, you know, a lot of people are just like, I don't know if she looks like a young mom, right? Or if it's some kind of like medical thing, a lot of times these companies just envision someone who is larger than myself. And that just always bothers me. Like, why do you have to assume that a woman of color who is a mom or a woman of color who has to take medication has to be like also overweight? So whatever. Anyway, that's not this video. Okay. Meditate was on my list. Meditate has been crossed off. I started listening to some podcasts that talked in depth about Buddhism, and another one that talked about the Bhagavad Gita, and I may have said that a little wrong, but you know what I mean when I say Gita. So I was listening to those podcasts, and something clicked where I was like, actually, I don't need it. And I just realized, and I'm gonna have to do a separate video on that. Okay, so I'm just gonna really quickly talk about doing the work. So there's this, you've probably heard this, if you listen to a lot of self-help stuff, you may have heard this phrase being kind of volleyed around for the past few years. Do the work, you gotta do the work, you gotta put in the work. And meditation is part of that whole kind of do the work thing. If you wanna be peaceful, have a peaceful life, then you have to meditate, you have to do the work. And peace is within you. So I actually don't have to force myself to sit and meditate on the daily. And I also kind of came to the realization about problems in general. That's not going to go into that right now. I was like, you know what? No, I think I'm okay with letting this go. Well, I do want to understand Buddhism better. I don't have to practice Buddhism. Like, I'd also love to understand Catholicism better and Christianity better, but I don't have to identify with any of those things in order to understand them. So one of these days, probably when I'm like 90, I'm gonna sit down and read all those texts and be like, now I understand. But yeah, I was like, nope, these things can go off my podcast list, and I'm good. I don't have to meditate for an hour or 2 hours or 20 minutes or 10 minutes to find peace. Peace is within me. Don't gotta do it. So, yeah. And you know what? Meditation and prayer, let's go hand in hand. You know, Catholics, Christians, they just call it a different thing. They just call it prayer. You know, it's kind of that calm, silent moment when you're throwing some words in, dear God, but ain't gotta do it in order to find happiness and balance. Okay. All right, YouTube. So I have to put stuff on my YouTube channels. For you guys know the answer to that. Haven't been doing that on the regular. It's on my list for daily, right? Okay, podcasts, recording daily, no. Writing a recipe daily, and I don't know what that means. There's something about, I don't know what that means. And then having an hour of no tech time. No, haven't done that. Okay, so there's a lot of things on this list that I do want to get back to, and there's some things where I'm like, you know, okay, I guess, no, to be fair, okay, most of those things on the list I want to get back to. However, now that I've looked at all the things that I haven't done, like what have I been doing for the past 4 months over here? I will say, and actually, I think I started using that list less and less, probably around like March or April. There was a lot of transitions with the house sits, and I started finding myself like wanting to unpack less and less, just because maybe the turnover was quicker for the next house sit, or I just didn't feel really comfortable in the space. So anyway, moving on. Okay, so let me give myself some props, because what have I been doing? Well, while I've been on the East Coast, I have written a lot of songs, or started a lot of songs, and I like these songs. Like, these are good songs. I mean, at times I've written songs over the past where I'm like, that's not great, but I'll just take a little note of that. Or I would have inspiration for a song like once every year. But there was a period while being on the East Coast where I had inspiration for songs every day. Like every day for 2 weeks. I was like, oh, that would be a great song. So I'm not mad at myself, okay? Maybe I didn't write a recipe every day, but I did work on songs. I also created 4 new on-demand videos for my business. I've written 4 or 5 children's books, which wasn't even in the plan at the beginning of this year, but I'm like, yo, I did that. And these books are done. They're not like things that I started. I have like another book that I started, but no, they're done. They are ready to be sent off for, to the copyright office to protect them. My brain right now cannot remember the correct term, but yeah, they're ready to be sent off. You know, before the end of the year, I can go ahead and tell the world these books exist and you should buy them. Yay, 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 yay. So I'm really proud of that. And I know that I'll be able to knock out a few more before the end of the year. My goal is to have a total of 10 published, ready to go. These books fall into a very certain niche. And so, anyway, the 10 is the thing. It's going to happen. I'm not worried about it. And that's a good feeling. I'm not worried about that. I have been working on my splits. I do teach a splits class, and so that kind of makes me work on my splits. And so I am proud of my improved flexibility. I attended like a little online workshop to learn some new moves. I'm proud of myself for doing that. So have I been practicing the acro daily? No. But did I do some things to improve where I am? Yes. I'm proud of that. So yeah, when I reflect on the past 4 months, it feels like I've not been living the life that I say that I want. I've been wasting my time. I can't get that time back. On the other hand, I did have some self-tapes that I did that I am proud of. And if they don't think that I was the right fit for the job or the right time, not my problem. I have written things that I'm very proud of. I have continued to pay bills and paid some bills off. I need to pay off some more. But even though I'm not exactly where I want to be with that, I am proud of the work that I've done. I have made a big change with my businesses and have been working really hard on those changes, implementing those changes, finishing things up. They're not done, but they will get done. And I believe in my ability to complete them this year. It's got to be done. You know, when I look at this one business and this big change that I was making, I'm like, oh my gosh, it took me 2 years of working on that change. I didn't have as much free time to focus on it, but now it's just me. It's just me and time. So yeah, I'm really happy with what I'm doing, and lots of other big changes on the way. So yes, I need to revisit this list and make some changes to honor where I am. Maybe rethink the whole face care routine. Okay, so that was a lot. I want to remind you to protect your time, protect your mind. I want to remind you to take a moment to think about what your perfect day looks like. And also take a moment to think about not only the things where you've been spending your time, but where you say you want to spend your time. And then look for some areas where you have actually made change in your life, and give yourself, well, if it's positive change, then give yourself a pat on the back for those positive changes. If it's not positive change, if you're like, well, I said I wanted to eat less tacos on Tuesdays, but here I am, 60 pounds overweight and surrounded by taco wrappers from Taco Bell, then, you know, think about what changes you can make and be proud of the fact that you were thinking about how you can implement those changes successfully, and then take steps to implement those changes, because there's not enough just to think about what we want that is different. And so my last little comment is, a friend of mine recommended a book to me, Design Your Own Life, or Design the Life You Want, or something. And so I skimmed through this book. I found her coffee. I was like, let me skim through this book. And I had complaints because it's designed by a graphic designer. And so this book was really hard to read. It's very creative, visually gorgeous, but really hard to read. I'm like, how is this helping anybody if they have to strain in order to read the text? Like, that is graphic design 101, which is, it has to be readable. Ugh. So I definitely felt like this book was appealing just to a certain brain that really does not like things to be easy. I don't know. I seriously want to take this book and just give it to somebody who has ADHD and be like, do you understand this book? Does it help you? Do you find it comfortable to read, or is it making you want to cry? This is what I wanted to do. Anyway, but I did the steps in the book, which said, you know, plan out what are the things that matter to you in life, and, you know, think about emotions, and I don't even remember the other categories, but I did all the things. I did all the 4 quadrants. I did all the mind mapping and all that stuff. I did all the things it asked me to, and I was left with this like list of things, and it's like, okay, so think about where you can put these things in your life. I'm like, what? This book is garbage. It's not enough to just make lists and plan. And to be fair, a lot of self-help books out there want you to take a look at your life and really think about everything, and then make all these lists, and there you go. You did the work. You did the work. You made these lists, and you're gonna put a plan together. But it doesn't really tell you like how to successfully implement the plan, and what to do when things don't go the way you planned, right? Because it's easy to plan, I'm gonna find a job that allows me to use all of my wonderful skills. I'm gonna find a job that allows me to be creative, but gives me flexible hours and lets me work from home, and, you know, leaves me feeling fulfilled, and all these things. But guess what? you said you're going to find that job, you found that job, and they're not hiring right now. And you got bills to pay. What are you going to do, right? So it's really easy to tell everybody to plan everything, but in terms of implementation, that's a different story, okay? So yes, I did tell you to sit down, work it out, think of all the things, but you also need to figure out how you're going to implement the things. And implementation is something I'm also focused on right now. So I'm on my way back to the West Coast, and I know that my life is just different when I'm on the West Coast. I know we're going into that winter season. Not that I've been out like partying or anything like that. Honestly, it's been a lot of walking dogs or just commuting to get back to wherever the house is from whatever work project I was doing. So I will definitely be able to kind of implement more my plans. I do have a period where it's going to be like 2 or 3 different homes within a 2-week period. I'm not thrilled about that, but I know it's going to happen, and I just have to figure out what am I going to do in order to make sure that my plan doesn't fall apart. The things that I say I want to implement, make sure I can still implement those things during this rough transition period, because when I'm in the same spot for weeks or months, it's a lot easier. All right, it's enough. You've had enough. Okay, thanks for hanging out watching this video. If you made it to the end, good on you. All right, if you have a goal for your 4th quarter that you're going to implement before the end of the year, put it in the comments. I want to know. Put it in the comments below. Can you please tell me? I want to be your cheerleader. I want to root you on. Okay, I want to root for you. Okay, until next time, peace.